What's happening, guys? Safety Liner C2 here. So I decided I wanted a different terrain, and I'm looking around and I see Vernio City on a list, and I'm like, well, what the heck is Vernio City? Like, the name sounds familiar, I just don't remember it. And I come on here, and this used to be a terrain that I would use fairly often. And if you go way back when, I'm talking I have not used this thing in years. Like, literally, I have not used this map in years. And if you go back on the channel to probably 2012 was probably the last time I used this, then you can, yeah. Using Carter's Bluebird 3800, because why the heck not? I haven't used this in a while. Yeah, alright, let's get going. I got a notification, that's not important. Alright, so anyway, hold on, I want to make sure that y'all are actually able to. Okay, anyway, so yeah, today's Friday, it's 8 o'clock. This week went by really quick, which is good. You know, you want weeks to go by quick when you're working, but then, you know, for everything else, you want it to go by slow. And I think part of the reason it went by quick is because I had a couple service calls where I had to go out into the field and, you know, do stuff. So the first thing we had to do was on Tuesday. And my boss gave me, and I have like a little team, or I'm in like a little team, so there's 3 guys, and there's one guy who does everything, and then there's one guy who's going to specifically focus on going out and fixing problems, and then there's me who will try and fix problems with, like, via remoting into their computer, so like using TeamViewer and trying to fix problems like that. And we're both, you know, fairly new. So he gave us a project, nothing big. He's like, yeah, so we got these power filters or power surges, and we want to test them out. So I have 12 of them, and I want you to put them at 12 locations on 12 machines. And I'm going to give you a list of 24, and I want you to choose where to put them. So we work on that. They go pretty easy, but we cut the list down, and we're at the end. 2 of the machines won't work because they're not compatible with it, and like 4 of them wouldn't work because the customer didn't want us to install them. So we decide that we're going to go with this company that I heard was kind of hard to get into. The guy was like, yeah, they're going to be a little bit hard to get into, so you can try and put them out there, but good luck. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll test my luck. So I go out there, and the first thing is their parking lot is tiny. There were 4 spots all taken up, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to. This is just the visitor parking. So I park over off to the side, and I go inside, and I'm like, hi, I'm here with insert company name here. We're just testing out some stuff. Can I put it on your machine? She's like, oh, well, actually, I'm going to need to call someone. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, sure, go ahead. So she calls someone up, and she's like, okay, that's good. They can do that. And she's like, okay, before you do this, we're going to have to register you into our system. And I'm just like, okay. So it takes like 10 minutes for me to register into their system, and it's just like, I had to get like my picture taken and this and that, and I had to provide a whole bunch of information, and it's just like, is this, you know, I understand security and everything, that makes sense, but is all this really necessary? So anyway, after sitting in there for probably 45 minutes, I would assume, from waiting for her to call someone, you know, doing the whole process. She gives me a contractor badge and says you can go, or you have to go around the building, drive past the security. They'll let you in if you show them your badge, and you can go from there. So there were 2 machines at this location. One of them was in Building 3, and the other one I had no idea where it was at. It didn't give me a location. So I asked the lady, and I'm like, yeah, where's Building 3? And she's like, it's in the back. You'll see a thing of stairs. Like, if you go inside, there's a thing of stairs. Okay. So I'm expecting these buildings to be labeled. So I drive back there, and I don't see anything. I see one long building. And I'm just like, there's supposed to be 3 separate buildings, not just one long building. I guess that wasn't the case. I guess they weren't labeled. But anyway, I go and I eventually find Building 3. I see a set of stairs, and I'm like, okay, I'll just test my luck. I have a contractor badge. I guess I can go anywhere. So I swipe my card, or rather, I hold it up, and it unlocks the door, and I go in, and I'm like, I see someone in there. It immediately takes me into the break room, and I'm like, yeah, where's your copy machine? The lady points me to this other room. So I go in there, and there's a thick stack of papers. It had to be the size of 2 textbooks. Like, good-sized textbooks. Like, just sitting in there, and there's more being printed out. So there's a little, estimated time left on there, and it's like 2 minutes. So I wait there for a few minutes, and this lady comes out, and she's like, oh, hey, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I'm just here to, put this on the copy machine. And she's like, well, you don't mind if I print anything, do you? And I'm like, I'm going to need to turn off the machine first. And she's like, oh, okay, just give me a minute. Let me finish up. So she adds another cue to the printer, and I look over at the estimated time left, and it's like 8 minutes left. I'm like, really? Okay, fine. So 8 minutes goes by, and she's like, okay, just one more. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And it's like 2 minutes this time, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is perfect. But then the paper runs out, so she comes out again, and I'm just like, do you mind if I just do this real quick? It'll take 30 seconds at most. Well, isn't that going to cancel the job? And I'm just like, oh my god, it is going to. So I wait there, and that job finishes, and then another one is sent over there, and that's like 12 minutes. And I'm just like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna try and look for the other machine. So we have our technicians serve in locations. Like, there's one who serves this part of town, this part of town, this part of town. So I look and I find the contact who services that part of town. So I call him up, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a machine. It's this model, and I'm at this company. There's 2 of them, but there's one in Building 3, but I don't know where the other one is. Do you know where it's at? He's like, oh, I thought they only had one. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, this isn't going to help. So luckily, this lady who I was talking to, she was real nice, very cool also. She's like one of those chill, people. But she's like, oh yeah, I think it's over in Building 2. If you walk in and just swipe hold your badge up, and if you take a left, it's a couple doors down, you'll see it. I'm like, okay, I'll come back. Should be done by then. So I walk over, and I find it sitting, a couple doors down to the left of the main entrance. So I power off the machine, I put the power filter on, power the machine back on, get my readings from it, and then head back to this other location. 20 minutes have passed by that point. And I come back, and there's still being stuff printed off, and I'm just like, okay, that's fine. Okay, I don't know how much stuff she was printing, but I had to wait through like 2 or 3 more queues. So I was there for at least another, 15 minutes. And then eventually it's done, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's get rolling. So I unplug the power, and I plug the thing into the wall, and I plug the cord into the surge, and I turn the machine back on, but it doesn't power on. And I'm just like, oh my god, with my luck. So I'm freaking out at this point. I'm just like, I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything. So I'm looking around, and I just see that somehow the other side of the cord had gotten unplugged. Okay, that's no big deal. I can just plug that back in. So I plug that back in, and I turn it on, and of course it turns on. But I had tried to fix it at first by there's 2 outlets on this power surge, so I tried to plug it into the other one. Let's go back here. So I tried plugging it into the other one, which was the further one from the 2. So it takes like 5 minutes to boot up, which it shouldn't take that long. It should only take like 30 seconds. It's not like it's got a whole lot of information on there. I mean, it has a decent amount, but still it shouldn't take, 5 minutes or so. Oh, come on, can we do this? No. But anyway, after that pops up, I see that it's, it's making me mad that, oh, well, that's annoying, that it wasn't, trying to hide the cable to make it look nice. So I turn the machine off, unplug that, and then plug it back into the other side, and then turn it back on, and there it goes. And I was done. So I spent an hour there for what should have been a 10-minute, 15-minute job. So that happened, and then the next day, like I said, I have to get the readings from the printers, and we have the software that does it automatically. There's 2 pieces of software, but one of them, if you register it once and you do some sort of reset on the machine, it loses that data. So you have to physically go out there and clear this data, because it's still, I don't know how to explain it, but you just have to go out there and you have to manually clear that out. So I had to go out there. I brought my, so I bring my laptop out there, and I go back to the copier, and I, like, okay, yeah, this shouldn't take very long. Just need to connect to the printer's IP real quick, and then just push a couple buttons on the printer, and then throw the code in there, and it should work. So I'm looking around for an Ethernet port to plug my computer into. Well, there's only one Ethernet port, which is the one that the copier was hooked up to, and I couldn't unplug it from there. So, because reasons, then it's not going to work on my end. So I look around the room, and I still do not find a Ethernet port. So I go up front, and I'm like, can't find an Ethernet port back there. Can I have the Wi-Fi password? So they give me the Wi-Fi password, but my computer doesn't want to connect to it. Of course. So I go back, and I'm like, yeah, didn't really work all that well. Can I just use one of the computers in the back? It shouldn't take very long. She's like, yeah, sure. So I go to one of the computers in the back, and I type in the IP, and it doesn't pull up. And I'm just like, okay, I'll just go and make sure that I typed in the right IP. So I go and I check everything, and everything looked right. Everything was correct. Nothing wrong. So I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes trying to figure this out, and I find an Ethernet port back there. Mind you, this was in a different room. Or rather, it was an Ethernet splitter. So anyway, I plug my computer and I type in the IP and it's still not working, and I'm freaking out. I'm just like, did I clear the wrong setting, or did I do this or that, something. But it didn't do anything. So I'm just like, I'm sitting there for like 10 minutes freaking out, and eventually I'm just like, why don't I just go restart the machine? And I go and restart the machine, and you know what? That's all it needed, because after that it decided to work. Okay, fine, whatever. And it's like a 45-minute drive out to that place, so I was there for an hour trying to fix that. So I really should have taken just a couple minutes. And then I had a second one after that. Second call for that day. Like I said, I'm trying to do the calls, from my computer. So we have the software to download, but this guy's computer was giving him an error. Okay, well, I'll just come out there and install it myself. That's okay. Don't worry about it. It costs nothing to y'all. So I go out there and I type in the website and I get all my stuff ready. And I click the download button, and it brings me to this page, and it's like their IT blocked this page. They were apparently really strict on what you downloaded. So he calls up the IT company. They're not local. They're some company. So he calls them up and he's like, "Yeah, I need you to let us download this so then we can blah 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 blah." And they're like, "Okay, yeah, you're gonna have to call us back in 15 minutes. Well, just send us the link and we'll unblock it." Okay, fine. So I wait there for 20 minutes, and this guy's super cool. Also, he had to have been a couple years older than me. He's just talking with me. He seemed to be a tech head also, kind of like myself, and just general stuff. We're talking about my watch, or we talked about phones, and he had a bunch of computers and how servers, and and whatever. He's super cool, super nice guy. And he leaves his office for a couple minutes to go do this, and he's out for like 10 minutes, and he comes back and calls the company up again after 15 minutes or so, and he's like, yeah, can we do it now? Nope, still didn't work. Still did not work. Of course not, because why would it work? So we had to wait there for a couple more minutes while they worked on unblocking it, and then eventually I was able to download the software and be on my merry way to go back to the office. Yeah, so that happened, and that was my week of stories in a nutshell. So yeah, yeah. Alright, I'm getting kind of tired of driving around in circles. I forgot that this map was pretty small. Yeah, I think I don't know what I was thinking, actually. I wasn't really thinking anything, to be real. I just remembered that first day, I had a very tight parking spot because there were no parking spots close, and it was lightly raining, and it started to rain harder as time went on, and I spent like probably 10 minutes looking for a parking spot, and very tight parking spot between a Ram and a trailer. So alright, so yeah, that is pretty much it, I think. Can't think of much else. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, make sure you subscribe right down here. It's a magical red button that says you're not subscribed to Safety Liner C2. Make sure you comment up here, down here, over here, or over here. I don't know where they put it down here where they put it. Make sure you also give this video a thumbs up, or you're going to have to park in a very tight spot also. And make sure you also share this video with a friend, show it to your mom, show it to your dad, show it to a guy on a random street. I don't care, don't get raped. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much it, and thanks for watching.